Hi guys, in this video we are going to be talking about variables and data types. So C# is a strongly typed programming language. What that means is that it requires us as programmers to specify the data type that we are using. But what is a data type? So while programming you give the computer all sorts of information like text, numbers. Today we will learn how does the computer distinguish between these different forms of data. But before answering that question, first let's try to understand why is it important for the computer to distinguish between these in the first place. So the reason is simple. This is important so that the computers do not end up doing things that are just impossible. For example, multiplying someone's name by 3. We all know something like that doesn't make any sense. So to prevent this, there has to be a way that we can tell the computer that hey, this is a piece of text and this is a number and you can't multiply them together. So the way computer can make out this difference is through data types. So in C# there are a bunch of predefined data types. Though for now let's focus on the most commonly used data types. So the first one is ints. These are used to store integers. The second is string. These store text. By the way, in C# text values are always put in inverted commas. Then we have floats which store decimal values, char which stores a single character, and lastly bools which store a logical value like true and false. Every data type has a default value, like the numeric type is 0, boolean has false, and char has /0 as a default value. Now while programming you will often come across certain instances where you will have to manage and keep track of a lot of data. For this we use variables. So variables are just containers where you can store data, like box in computer's memory. Variables are one of the most important and useful tools in programming. Now how do we create a variable? So there are two steps to creating a variable. The first is declaring the variable and the second is assigning it a value. So to declare a variable, first we specify the type of variable, then we specify the name of the variable. This is also called the identifier. Then finally we put a semicolon. Now after we declare a variable, we have to assign it a value. This is done using an equal to sign. Now while naming a variable, you need to keep a few things in mind. In C#, there are certain rules that we have to follow while naming a variable. These are: variable names must be unique. You can't repeat a variable name. Variable names can only contain letters, digits, and the underscore. And they must start with a letter. They can't start with a number. Also, in C#, variables are case sensitive. That is, name with a small n and a name with a capital N are considered different names. And also, variable names cannot contain reserved keywords. For example, int. I will provide a list of these keywords in the description. So let's create a program which prints the following information about a user in a form of a sentence. So let's take a look at the first one. What do you think? Which data type will we use? So age will always be represented as an integer, so we will use ints. Now the second one stores a name, which is of course a text, so we will use a string. Now so I will go ahead and create variables for storing the age and name and assign them a value. Once that is done, on the next line we will type console.writeLine, then inside parentheses we will type hello my name is, then a plus sign and then our variable name. So what this will do is that it will join the two strings that are being added. This is also called concatenation. Similarly, on the next line we will type console.writeLine, then inside parentheses and I am, then a plus sign, then years old. Now if we run the program, you can see it prints out my name is the Big Mac and I am 15 years old. Now the advantage of using variables over here is that let's say you are writing a story and using the same name 50 times in your text. Now, it would be very irritating if you wanted to change the name of your character. But if the name is a variable, you can just change the value of the variable and it will automatically update in the whole story. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments. And no assignment question this time. I will give you a combined assignment question in the next video. That's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one.